What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This here is Legitical Response. I cover political news, and that's exactly what we're doing today, folks. I want to talk about the Democrats and the Republicans to an extent because they're both ripping this country to shreds. They are tearing people apart. I don't know what the angle is. It's a lot of the Democrats, and what I mean by this, by saying both sides, is that okay, so the Democrats, they get out there and lie. Republicans lie too, but we'll get into that. So they get out there and lie through their teeth. The corporate press backs the Democrats because they're all left-wing activists. We know this. They lie constantly. And you have people on the right, not everybody, but a lot of people on the right, they pay attention to the news. They pay attention to what's going on. We find out that the corporate press lied to us, and then we're gaslit into oblivion when we try to expose the truth. And that puts people against each other because you got this sect of people that are just cultists, essentially, and they will just go with the corporate press narrative, and you're a Trump-hating, deplorable person if you disagree with us. It's like just vitriol all over the dang place. And we're over here like, hang on, that's not the truth. You know, stop spitting lies. Stop buying into the mis and disinformation. Stop buying into the corporate press narrative. They're lying to you. No, they're not. No, they're not. That's what we get. So that pits people against each other. And then politicians see this and they just gaslight everybody. Like, oh yeah, blah, 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 blah. It's frustrating to say the least. And it's aggravating. We're going to get into that. But I wanted to bring something up right quick that I found very interesting. Check this out, y'all. Kamala Harris is not going to show up to the Al Smith charity dinner. Now, this is something you might not know what that is, but you've seen the clips.
And even tonight, with all of the heated back and forth between my opponent and me at the debate last night, we have proven that we can actually be civil to each other. In fact, just before taking the dais, Hillary accidentally bumped into me, and she very civilly said, "Pardon me." And I got the chance to meet the people who are working so hard to get her elected. There they are, the heads of NBC, CNN, CBS, ABC. There's the New York Times right over there, and the Washington Post. They're working overtime. True.
Yeah, so all presidential candidates go to this dinner. It's a good chance for unity, right? For people to come together. And this is what I'm talking about. Kamala Harris not showing up shows that she is not willing to come together, to put your differences aside. It's a good chance to roast Donald Trump, and she's not going to do it. Now, the reason this is very interesting. Now, Trump has been compared to Ronald Reagan a lot in the past. And just so happens, the last time a presidential candidate refused to show up to this dinner was in 1984. Check this out right quick. Harris will be the first presidential candidate to turn down an invitation to the historic dinner since former Vice President Walter Mondale, former President Reagan's unsuccessful Democratic challenger, declined to attend in 1984, according to the New York Post. That's very interesting, folks. That is very interesting because we are seeing a lot of similarities here. A lot of similarities. This is good news for Donald Trump. This is very good news for Donald Trump. And we look at what's been going on, right? We see the debate, and everybody's like, oh, well, Kamala Harris won the debate. Well, you know, looking at this historically, okay, so a lot of people think Kamala Harris won the debate. Now, you got the Trump supporters over here. They're like, no, Trump won. Corporate press is like, no, Kamala won. Look at it like this. Okay, so when you have a boxing match, all right, and say the champion loses, or anybody loses, like in a really high-profile fight, they always instantly want a rematch. They want a rematch so they can defend their title or so they can get their title, whatever, regardless, right? So we see Kamala Harris is yelling and screaming and gnashing her teeth, wanting another debate. She wants another debate on CNN. She turned down a debate on Fox News. I wonder why this is. Why is she screeching about doing another debate on corporate press, on the mainstream narrative machine, which Fox is kind of a part of that, but they're the other side of it, I guess you could say. Why would she refuse a Fox debate? I don't understand that. If she wants a debate so bad, why would she refuse this and go with CNN? That's confusing to me. That's very confusing to me, and I don't understand it. Now, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but a lot of the support behind Kamala Harris seems fake. It seems fake to me. Now, that could be my bias poking through right there, but it doesn't seem real to me. And the reason I say that is because of stuff like this.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Thank you. Thanks for joining us for this very special event, Unite for America! And that's exactly what we're doing live tonight, uniting from Farmington Hills in Oakland County, Michigan. We have 400 people.
Okay, so what's the deal with this? Now, there's been reports on X. I saw a couple of tweets that are just garbage. They're lying about this, saying that Kamala Harris was reading off of a teleprompter, which is just not true. If you can go and look this up and see it. It's simple, right? She's not reading off a teleprompter. That was what Oprah was saying. But the thing I want to get at is, what is the deal with all of this? What is the deal with having all of those TV screens up there with people yelling and cheering for Kamala Harris? Like, why do that? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. It seems like it's just artificial support, right? Because sure, that might be real people on those screens, but why do that? It makes no logical sense to fill a studio with half with people and half with TV screens. Like, what is really going on with this? We need to ask ourselves a few questions on this. Why would they go to the extent to do this? It's all for optics. That's the only thing it can be, is they want to show more support for Kamala Harris. Now, why would somebody be begging for support like this? Like this is insane. You mean to tell me that all of those people, because there's a lot of people there, we saw in that clip, there's a lot of people there. Why would she be begging for support like this? That's what it sounds like to me. That's what it looks like to me. It's begging for support to get, I don't know how many people that is on those TV screens, but it just, I don't know. I'm confounded by illogical things. They blow my mind. They make no logical sense to me. Like, it doesn't make sense to get that many TV screens to put up in a studio audience, of all places, right? To artificially blow up the audience that's there. Because that's all that's doing. Artificially blowing up the audience. Because a lot of people watch that. A whole lot of people watch that. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I did catch that Kamala Harris was talking about shooting intruders. And, the right went hard on this one. Yeah, they went real hard on this one. Oh, she's not really a gun owner. Huh? Well, does that really matter? Like, that statement was an obvious gaslight, right? Gaslighting people, because we know that she wants to take assault weapons from people. Every single gun is an assault weapon. I'm sorry, there's just no way around that. Assault weapon is a made-up term by the left to make you more scared of guns, to make you more scared of a specific type of gun, right? It makes no sense. When you logically break it down, take your emotions out of the equation, that makes no sense, folks, because a weapon looks more dangerous than another one, it is more dangerous. Right, like they go after these assault weapons with no logic whatsoever. None. I've always equated it to, right, like you get this rash of people getting ran over, right? The vast majority of the people getting ran over, the people running people over, is done by cars. But then you get a couple of situations where a truck mows over a lot more people. Just a whole lot more people, 10 times the amount. And then they want to ban just pickup trucks. That's what that sounds like. That's what that is. It makes no logical sense. It's like a rash of people getting beat up with baseball bats, right? And then some maniac with a wood bat just so happens to beat up a whole lot more people with that wood bat. They want to ban wood baseball bats and not aluminum baseball bats. That's how much sense that makes. It makes no logical sense whatsoever. But they know they can't come after all guns all at once. They can't do it at all. It doesn't work. People are going to revolt. So they try to do it one step at a time. This is how it's always done. One slow step at a time. The slow march toward communism is what we're doing here, folks. They're doing it with silencing people on the social media, calling it fighting mis and disinformation, folks. No, we can't have this. The First Amendment is concrete. It's fundamental to our freedoms. It's fundamental to the structure of this country. Just like the Second Amendment is fundamental to this country. And we can't have any infringement into those rights, or else they're just going to slowly start chipping away at these. We need to fight back. All these lawsuits against the Biden administration for banning people on social media. And that's what they're doing, and I will continue to say that, even though that what they actually did was, had that backdoor access to these places and said, hey, why don't you look at banning this person or deleting these posts? And they said, sure thing, gotcha, boss, get right on that. And they did it. Yeah, to me, that's coercion. And the government coercing these social media platforms to silence voices of opinions they don't like whilst telling you that they're fighting mis and disinformation. Yeah, opinions can be wrong, but the First Amendment doesn't differentiate between good and bad opinion. It's speech. It's freedom of expression. If you want to express the wrong opinion, you most certainly have the right to do so. There should be no infringement upon that just because you don't like it or just because it's not true. Right? These social media platforms have an apparatus. They have a tool to correct the narrative when somebody gets something wrong. It's called community notes. Right? YouTube does it. X does it. All these places do it. Instead of banning these people, just put you a community note right there and say, hey, look, this is the official information. And people can decide for themselves what to go with. And most people are going to go with the truth. They don't like being lied to. They don't like being gaslit into oblivion. And that's all these people are doing. They're gaslighting us into oblivion. And the right sometimes doesn't help by lying about stuff. Just outright lying. They have the right to do so, most certainly. But it doesn't help the situation. Like Trump coming out and saying, I hate Taylor Swift. It's like, why would you do that? Right? Like, you're going to get cheers from your base. But normal people are going to look at that and be like, come on, dude. Like, why use that type of language? Like, make a joke about Taylor Swift if you're going to go after Taylor Swift. Right? That endorsement of Kamala Harris doesn't make a lick of difference. People are suffering right now. People are suffering greatly. And we know that the Biden administration has a lot to do with the current economic landscape in this country. We know that they are responsible. We've gone over the evidence of this. We've seen that, yet they could have prevented inflation from rising as high as it did. They most certainly could have. Donald Trump did so. Because, yeah, that supply chain crisis was going on during Donald Trump's presidency, bled over into Joe Biden's, and they didn't do nothing. They dropped the freaking ball. They put us in the position we're in right now. Poor economic policies. Insane spending on climate agenda garbage. It's stupid. It's really stupid. They're putting their money in places they don't need to. like trying to force Americans to buy electric cars. That's what they're doing. That's what his mandate does. Right? The corporate press will come out and say, oh, well, it's not an EV mandate. Yeah, it is. It most definitely is for at least half of the population. At least half. That's discrimination as well. You can't force half of the population to buy, 56%, by the way, to buy electric vehicles. That's what the mandate does. That's what Joe Biden is trying to do. They're trying to take away gas stoves while telling you they're not. They're raising the costs of everything by poor economic policies and then trying to force you to buy certain things because they want a virtue signal and say they're fixing the climate, y'all. It's all for virtue signal purposes. And it's insane to me that they do this. It's insane. I just don't get it. I understand we have a climate situation going on. We need to be good stewards of the planet. But you don't try to force the issue. And plus, once again, like I said, they're not putting their money in smart places. They're not using wisdom to think about some of this stuff because, you know, mandating electric vehicles isn't going to solve the problem. We know the issues behind the mining of some of these batteries. The coal-fired power plants in this country produce a whole hell of a lot more CO2 than a car does, right? Than many cars. Many cars. These jets, people flying around on private jets, they produce a lot of CO2 as well. And it's not good for the environment. But they don't put their money where it should go. Right? Instead of trying to capture carbon through that process, but then you can actually do stuff with that captured carbon. They're trying to make you go buy carbon credits, which doesn't do a damn thing to take carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere. It's ridiculous, and it's gaslighting. That's all it is. It's gaslighting. They're sitting there yelling and screaming at the top of their lungs that, oh, we got 10 years, y'all. We're going to tip the scales, and then, boom, we're going to be dead. It's an existential threat. It's an existential threat while they're going to buy beachfront property. That makes no sense. If the polar caps are going to melt, and, you know, the sea level is going to rise by however many feet, why the hell are you buying property on the beach that's going to be underwater in 10 freaking years? Also, at the same time, flying around on private jets, dumping a whole hell of a lot more carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. It makes no sense, y'all. It makes no sense whatsoever. And I had a story. I think I'll cover that on the next video, just to get that out there because it's interesting. It's very interesting, and it goes along with this video. Yeah, there was a lady that got kicked out of the New York Mets stadium for wearing a MAGA hat. Yeah, a staffer kicked her out. Just outright. Violated her First Amendment. These people don't care, y'all. These people do not care whatsoever. But I think I've rambled on for long enough on this one. I want y'all to let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comment section. That's all I got for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching. Y'all try to have a good day. Stay legitical. Peace.